Now, do not move to North Carolina if you cannot handle crazy weather, weird bugs, crazy traffic, and rent that can spike up to $200 in one night. Now, it's not all sweet tea and sunshine. Let me share with you 7 hard truths that nobody warns you about. Starting with the first one. Brutal truth number 1. It is not as cheap as you think. Even the groceries are jumping. I used to go to this butcher shop in Concord. I used to get 5 packets of meat for $25. I was like their special at the butcher shop. Now it's 5 packets for $40. And they added a 3% service charge for credit cards. That is crazy. I don't eat GMO meat, so they kind of got me right now. You know what I mean? I can't really, either I'm going to pay them or I'm going to go back to junk, and I'm not going back to junk. So they got me. So the basics, meat, gas, service pricing, they've all gone up. And it's not just inflation, it's migration demand. So at this point, if you don't adapt, you will fall off. So if they raise the price, that means that, guess what? I had to raise mine as well. So the rent went up, my massages went up, everything went up. It's literally a ripple effect. And if you don't have a skill that you can raise the price on, you're gonna fall off. And with all these price increases, I kind of had one of the realest realizations I had in a long time, which this is kind of how you get a whole new batch of slaves. And by slaves, I mean people who will do anything because they don't have nothing. I didn't mean to kind of get that kind of deep or kind of dark, but it's like that. But here's the twist. It kind of depends on where you're from. So folks from New York, I tell them, hey, it's $1,000 to rent the 1 bedroom a month. They're like, here, take it. That's nothing. People that are from here, they hear $1,000 a month and they're like, oh, it's kind of a lot. You know what I mean? So it's a different game depending on where you're at. So yes, prices are rising, but compared to LA and New York, you're still getting more house, more space, and a better shot at building equity if you move quick and play smart. So we know rising prices does hurt, but you know what else hurts worse? Brutal truth number 2, the uninvited neighbors, bugs, and wildlife. From water bugs to spider-snared snakes, welcome to the jungle. So let's start with the creepy crawlies. When I first moved down here, I saw this big, what I thought was a cockroach. It was super fast. And I actually found out it's a water bug and they can fly, which is like crazy. Then you got the spiders. I remember I went to this restaurant. It was this big black and yellow spider on this huge web. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, I want no parts of that. And then you have the brown recluse spider where if they bite you on the leg, you pretty much lost that leg. So it's just like the spiders here are nothing to play with at all. And the ants, if you are not on top of the ants, they will be in your house ASAP, no Rocky. It is that serious. You're going to want to invest in some pest control because it's like that down there. And then we have the mosquitoes and the flies. In the summertime here, it can turn your trash into an insect buffet. You literally going to have to wash out your trash bin more than you're probably used to here because the heat will cook your trash and the flies will come and lay thousands of eggs. Like it's disgusting. And then next thing I know, I open my door and there's a whole bunch of flies in my house. So got a little creative and found a little solution, which is nature. So in my next house, I'm going to actually put up a bat house. You know, most people get like a bird house for the birds and stuff like that. No, I'm getting a bat house so that my bats can fly around and eat up all the mosquitoes, all the gnats. Hopefully my neighbor's going to call me Batman. And then we have the snakes, the coyotes, the hawks, and the raccoons. Now, I remember one time I looked out a trap to catch some spiders in my garage. I opened my door one day and I saw a snake was caught in my glue trap. I was just like, let me just leave this snake here to starve itself and die because I'm not touching that. But yeah, it's like that with these snakes around here. And if you got small pets, you're going to kind of beware because we have coyotes out here and they look like muscular dogs, the super diesel dogs. And you want to be careful because they will get your little dogs if you're letting them out to go use the bathroom at nighttime and you're not with them. You want to be super careful of that. And then we also have a lot of hawks here. You know, and it might seem cool when you see them flying around in the sky or whatever, but they are not playing. They are hunting. And if you have a little dog that's out running around, they will come down and take your dog and eat it. And if you accidentally leave your food out, one of my neighbors left some food out and saw raccoons showing up ASAP. So just, keep that in mind when you're moving down here. But before you run off screaming, here's the twist. Bugs are manageable with pest control, weatherproofing, and kind of knowing what to expect seasonally. Most locals don't deal with this stuff daily, but if you're new here, yeah, you're gonna notice real fast. And if you're from New York, you're probably used to big old rats, and I ain't talking about master splinter, but you're definitely not used to flying water bugs. And Charlotte bugs are on a whole nother level. Creepy, crawly, mutated, and evolved are the bugs that are here. Brutal truth number 3, traffic. Sunday traffic jams? Yeah, even Sundays are not safe in Charlotte. So traffic is growing slowly but surely. It's not Atlanta bad, but it's growing pretty fast. Even on a random Sunday on I-77, you're gonna hit gridlock. I play at a church on Rock Hill, South Carolina every Sunday, and I have to go up 77 to get back into Charlotte. 12:30 in the day. Gridlock, bumper to bumper on a Sunday makes no sense to me, but it is what it is, you know? Rush hour still means sitting in traffic, and sometimes it's just random. You are not imagining it. There are more people, more cars, and there's more time lost on the road. There's also constant construction, which means constant progress, but also constant pain. They're building a lot of roads, overpasses, everything out here. Like, it's literally getting crazy. Like by Concord Mills Mall, they added like a ramp that goes over the road to kind of like cut down traffic over there, which is actually pretty cool. It was not there when I moved here, but it's here now, and it actually really works. Now, it's good that they're trying to keep up, but you're still going to deal with some detours and some slowdowns. The whole region feels like it's under construction, because it is. Now, when it comes to walkability, it's not so much. Some folks move here thinking it's going to be wide open roads and no traffic. That ain't it anymore. They are expanding, but it's not keeping up with the pace of the people moving in. So it's still kind of crazy down here. It's not walkable like cities up north. You just won't find sidewalks. You literally see people walking on the road down here. Now, before you panic, here's the upside. While traffic's real, it's still better than Atlanta, Miami, or DC. And if you're strategic about where you live and when you commute, you can avoid the worst of it. The city's growing, and that's a sign of opportunity. But yeah, you want to bring some patience, a GPS, and know your backup routes. And once you finally made it through that gridlock, you step out of your car and walk into a straight heat wave. Now let's talk about the summers that hit different down here. Brutal truth number 4, brutal summers and daily sweat. Sunglasses aren't for style, they're survival gear. Sunglasses are a non-negotiable. The sun is intense. I can literally feel it closer to my skin down here, and it is cooking me. I squint so much down here, like I realize I'm always walking around looking crazy, just looking crazy. Like, it's super bright. Forget looking cool. Sunglasses down here are for eye protection. It is literally survival. You will damage your eyes if you don't have sunglasses down here. Now, the car heat here is no joke. I left my sunglasses on the dashboard. I came back, put them on my face, almost burnt my whole face off trying to wear them. You're gonna need one of those sun blocker things that you put inside your windshield whenever you get out your car, or you will cook your car. Seat belts, leather, everything gets super hot. If you have a baby, you're gonna want to tint those windows because your kid's arms will get burned while you're sitting in traffic. It's that serious. And then you have the skin, sweat, and hygiene hustle down here. When I first came down, I would take a shower. I used to use shea butter to moisturize, and I would use coconut oil to kind of like lock in the moisture, until I realized I was literally cooking at a food truck festival. It was so sunny that the sun was baking my skin and I had to get out of the sun. It's that real. Like, now I know I will save that for the winter. In the summertime, it's sunscreen or regrets. Literally. You should prepare for sweating through your clothes on the daily. So now you're going to be doing more laundry, more cleaning, and more showers. Hygiene kind of becomes a lifestyle down here. Depending on your job, you might need to bathe at least twice a day, easy, like literally. And when it comes to clothing, you're going to see people basically half naked in Walmart. It is literally that hot. Now, if you have to dress professionally and your AC goes out, oh boy, you are going to show up drenched in sweat, looking crazy. That happened to me a couple of times when my AC went out in my car. I was coming up to showings, armpits sweated out, sweat rag, just looking wild. It's literally that hot out here. Make sure your AC stays charged in your car. But here's the twist. Once you adapt, you adapt. You learn to keep sunscreen in your car, backup clothes in the trunk, and you pick breathable fabrics like your life depends on it. Because honestly, it kind of does. Charlotte's heat wave is tough, but it's also part of why the winters are so easy. No shows to shovel, no ice storms, and way fewer seasonal headaches. I love it. But it's not just the weather that'll leave you sweating. The real shock comes when life moves slower, the liquor stores are closed, and your Wi-Fi's MIA. Brutal truth number 5, culture shocks. Culture shocks hit when the liquor stores close and your Wi-Fi's dead. Down here, we have what I like to call the I'm rich down here factor. People from New York will hear $1,000 for rent and you're like, what? That's it? Here, take it. But then that first month, people are like, oh, shoot, I can afford everything. You know what I mean? The prices are so low. But prices creep up fast. Groceries, rent, services, it all adds up. And locals still feel the difference. $1,000 still feels pretty expensive if you've lived here for a while. Now, the pace of life here is a lot slower than expected, and you'll pretty much feel it right away. People move different here. The South got that slow down vibe. Not everyone's in a rush like New York or LA. You'll hear hi, how you doing from strangers, and they actually mean it. It's pretty friendly, but if you're used to the rush culture, it can feel very slow. Now let's talk about the walkability, Wi-Fi, and weird rules. Now you're gonna see people literally walking on the road. That was just so crazy for me to see coming down here. Charlotte just wasn't built for walking, not like older cities. And Sundays, lots of stuff shut down, not just Chick-fil-A. You can't buy liquor in the grocery stores, so if you're used to a 24-hour life, it's gonna feel kind of weird. Now, tech-wise, when I moved down here, I had Sprint, and I had zero, no service, no signal, no nothing. I had to switch to Spectrum ASAP. Even now, in some areas, just don't have fast internet or reliable cell service. So my gigabit dream is kind of dead. Remote workers, you're going to want to check before you move exactly what the service providers are looking like in that neighborhood. Now, here's the thing. The culture shock works both ways. The slow pace is peace for people who's burnt out from the big cities. The hi, how you doing from strangers, well, that's called community. And as for the Wi-Fi and walkability, well, they're catching up fast. But yeah, double check that zip code before you buy a house expecting fiber internet and sidewalks. Be careful. So are you still feeling chill? Well, just wait. When there's no rent cap and crime hits where you least expect it, things get real. Brutal truth number 6, no rent control and rising crime. Your rent can jump up to $200, and that is very legal here. Now in North Carolina, there is no statewide rent control, and that was a shock for me. There's nothing stopping landlords from raising rent crazy fast. My first year, rent jumped about $40, which is, not too crazy. The next year, it jumped to $100, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? What's stopping them from tripling it next year? You know what I mean? And the answer was nothing, because Charlotte doesn't have a strong tenant protection like New York or California. It's a market free for all, and renters feel it really fast. It is a wild, wild west out here. The rising crime means that it's not all safe out here. We definitely have stories of people getting shot, and not just in bad neighborhoods. So you don't always see it coming. People move here thinking it's totally safe, and it's not. Even neighborhoods that look quiet can have little pockets of trouble. So you got to be careful, especially as the city grows faster than the infrastructure or policing. Now here's the upside. If you're buying and not renting, you are riding the wave of equity growth. The city's expanding, and that means more jobs, more homes, and more options. And when it comes to safety, the neighborhood matters. Know where you're moving, check the stats, and don't assume that every suburb is a bubble, because it's not. Yes, Charlotte is growing fast, but that growth, if you plan it right, you can definitely grow with it, because I definitely have. And even if you dodge all of that, wait until the fees start stacking up and the laws start biting. Let's get into the fine print. Now for our bonus brutal truth, we have the hidden cost. It's all good until the fine print find your wallet. In North Carolina, we have what's called a due diligence fee, aka money you do not get back. Most states just have earnest money, but here in North Carolina, there's this due diligence fee. That means even if you back out during your due diligence period after your inspection or during your inspection, you do not get that money back. Now, technically, it's optional, but good luck getting your offer accepted without it. That's why I call it the Wild Wild West. If you're buying here, you better not play, because we are not playing down here. It is a caveat state, buyer beware. Charlotte is definitely not perfect. It is far from perfect, but it's also not pretending to be. So let's bring it home. So yeah, we have snakes, heat, rising rent. North Carolina is not all sunshine and charm down here. But if you can handle the tough stuff, there's a whole lot to like down here. Do you want to know the good and the bad and not just the hard parts? Check out my next video, The Real Pros and Cons of Living in North Carolina. It breaks it all down so you can decide for yourself if this place actually fits your lifestyle. And with that being said, see you in the next video.